welcome to the first lecture. In this lecture, we are going to discuss the program that inputs an integer and displays the sum of its digits. For example, if the user enter an integer 1, 3, 5 or any other value, then the program should display the sum of its digits. For example, the user enter 5, 1, 2, then the program should display the sum of its digit. For example, 5 plus 1 plus 2 is equal to 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So we have to do this work in this program. So let's get started. As you know, if you are a beginner, then you will know that these are the library functions, okay? And the body of the program starts from int main. Now we have to declare some integers like integer variable x, a, r, and sum is equal to 0. These all are integers, that's why we use int data type, okay? So next is you will understand that why we use these variables, and we have to calculate the sum. That's why we initialize sum is equal to 0. We initialize this 0 because if we don't, then it may contain garbage value, okay? So that's why we have to initialize sum is equal to 0. Next, we wanna enter we want to enter an integer value. That's why we take an integer value. So this x is used for integer value, okay? This x will store an integer value that user enter. For example, user enter an integer value 512, so now this integer value will be stored in x, okay, in this variable x. Now here we again initialize a and we stored x in a. We do this, and you will understand this later more well. We do this because when we run program, or when you understand this later, that the value of x will be changing in program, okay? The value of x will not be fixed further, so that's why we store this value into a. Next, we use while loop, and in while loop we write a condition that x should not be equal to 0. It means that x should be any other value, okay, but not 0. So if the user enter any value except 0, then the condition will be true and the body of the loop will be executed, okay? So for example, if user enter 512, then the condition is true because 512 is not equal to 0, okay? Then this statement will be executed. So the concept of this program starts from here. What's the concept is, if we divide any number, now this is the symbol modulus that gives remainder of any value, okay? So here, for example, we suppose that x is equal to 512, and then what we have to do is here r is equal to 512 modulus 10, okay? Just take the modulus of this value with 10, okay? Now this will give the remainder. You know that this symbol in language C++ language gives remainder. Okay, so 5, 1, 2 and 10, we have to divide this, and this will give us 2 remainder. Okay, this is remainder. So the remainder 2 will be stored in R. Okay, now what will be the value of R? R is equal to 2 now. Okay, so here is 2. Now you know that this value is in unit place, this is in 10 place, and this is in 100 place. When we take the modulus any integer value, when we take the modulus of any integer value with 10, then we are just separating these values. For example, here is 2. Now we take remainder, and the value of 2 is stored in R. Okay, then next is if remainder, R indicate remainder. Okay, if remainder is equal to 0, it's mean this is the operator. So if R is equal to 0, it means if the remainder is equal to 0, then print this statement. Now we see that our remainder is not 0, it's 2. So this statement will not be executed. The statement after else will be executed, this statement. Okay, now this statement will be executed. Now we know that we initialize sum is equal to 0. Okay, so here sum is equal to sum plus R we have, and the value of sum is 0 and the value of R is 2. So sum will store the value of 2. Okay, and next here we divide the value of x by 10. Now what was okay, so we have x, we suppose x 5, 1, 2. When we divide this by 10, we get 51. Okay, so the value of x is now 51. So that's why we stored x in A, cause x is changing. X is not 512. Okay, x is changing. Now the value of x is 51. Now again this loop will continue, and we will get the remainder again. Now the value of x is 51. Okay, again x modulus 10 will give us the remainder, for example, and then for example it gives remainder 1. Then again we will see that remainder will not be equal to 0. Then this statement will execute it, and again the value of x will be changed. So that's why the loop will work. Okay, and then when the condition becomes false, the control exit from this body, and what it will print or display the sum of digits. Okay, the sum of digits, that is A, and A store x. So the integer x, the sum of that integer will be displayed. Okay, so that is the